Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch Therapy. I'm going to bring on the Facebook and the Twitter people. And it is Wednesday, hump day. So good to be here. My mind, the gears are still turning, as you can see. This is the time where we're going to let go of a lot of the gear turning that goes on and just have some fun. We're going to breathe at the beginning of the show, but the show hasn't begun yet. Right now, we're just enjoying the gears. It's Ocean Week. We're exploring the ocean here on Lunch Therapy. And what I've realized is the ocean is vast. It is not really a topic for a week. I have not even stepped into the ocean yet. I am afraid. Let's step into Lunch Therapy. All right. I see Mary's here. I see Brad Watson is here. Brad Watson 9. Way! The legend has appeared. I love Brad Watson 9. So great to have you here. Oceans are huge. Yes, please follow me on Twitch because you're a Twitch person. I love seeing you guys out there on Twitch. All of you people. Humans. As the bat on this show says, we have a bat. Anyway, Hee-Haw Ganell is here. Hey, Ganell. Let's take in our 3 deep breaths and get on with this show because it's Wednesday and there's a lot to get into here. So we're taking our first breath. Into the nose, out through the toes. For those of you that may have not seen the show before, Lunch Therapy is a respite from all the stuff that's going on in the world. We do breathing at the top of the show. Twitch makes me feel like I should become a gamer. Mary's in there too. That's awesome. I know. I love it. You should become a gamer. What better time? You look like a cross between Jesus and Jared Leto. We're going to be getting into that too. Let's take another deep breath. Hold it. Let it out. A couple birds here hanging out. You know, I get a lot of my good birds from bestanimations.com. They have a lot of good gifts there. I don't know. I'm advertising them. This is the third breath, I believe. Hold it. Make sure you get it well into the back of your lungs. And then let it out. Mary's becoming a beekeeper right now. Well, you know, we need more bees. Apparently, they're keeping us alive. If we don't have enough bees, we don't have enough life, apparently. That's what I understand. I haven't really delved into it, but people say that the cell phones are killing the bees or something like that. So right now I'm going to introduce the location of my webcam today. I've been having remote webcams on the show today. It's pointing at a tree. Hopefully we'll get some squirrels. There are some fake birds there, of course. I'm going to take those out so we can get a real view of the tree. This is here in Los Angeles. As many of you know, I am an entertainer, a nonprofit entertainer so far here in Los Angeles, a comedian, Joel Marshall, beekeeper. I need more bees, but I'm not a good pollinator. Is that what you have to do? You have to pollinate to get the bees? I don't know. All right, so it's Ocean Week. We are in the cult of the hummingbird. This is a cult. It's cult of the hummingbird. You'd think it'd be cult of the lunch therapy, but that just doesn't sound as fun, and we love hummingbirds on this show. For those of you who have just joined the cult, there are a few tenets to the cult, and you can add to them as well, because this is a cult. This is a good cult. Like, this is the kind of cult where, you know, you get positive. It has a positive influence on people. And it's not the kind where you can't come and go as you please. It's not the kind that tells you not to read other material or not to go into other cults. You can join as many cults as you want. These are the tenets so far. And maybe, you know, the chat room can add some more. I don't know. But here they are. Here's what I have. 1, get enough sleep. Everybody needs to sleep. And I think some of us have the misconception that we don't need to sleep, but it's super good for our brains. And if you can throw some meditation in there as well, we're going to be very, very healthy, much healthier than we are at this moment. Be present in the moment. Speaking of the moment, you should be present in all of them. So we waft in and out with our minds running off, thinking about weird things like, you know, a chicken runs by and you're like, look, there's a chicken. And you forget that you're doing a highly popular internet program, and you just go floating off into nowhere. Or someone makes a hilarious chat comment and then you lose your chain of thought. That's okay, because we kind of want to get the thoughts out of there and just get to the core being and be present in the moment. Sometimes what I do is I just feel my feet on the floor if I'm out of bed. I feel my feet on the floor and I just get kind of present in the moment. I had an acting teacher one time who, his name's Jeffrey Tambor. He's an actor. Also, you've seen him around. One time I was in a scene and it wasn't going very well because I was like thinking too much. And he said to me, just look at your shoe. Just every once in a while in the scene, look at your shoe and just really look at it. I'm telling you, it helps. There's my bit of advice. Hummingbirds are good pollinators. That's for sure. Be the hummingbird. There is a Twitter, Cult of the Hummingbird. There's a website. There is a Facebook page. All to be joined. There's some great advice on there and beautiful pictures of hummingbirds. It's okay to have thoughts. I mean, we can't not have thoughts, but just be aware that you're thinking the thoughts. That's a good point, Mary. You know, because a lot of us are not aware. So this is what they say, the meditators, they say. They say, what you do is you sit down and you close your eyes and you listen and you breathe. And you don't shut out the sounds that you're hearing. You listen to them. You know, maybe like right now I hear the breeze of the wind. I hear the music. I hear a bird chirping. Now, and then you ask yourself, who's listening? And then you see some thoughts come by, maybe some thoughts about like some stuff you need to do, or that you need to get moving on with the show and stop talking about thoughts. You've got a lot of hilarious stuff in the show coming on. Maybe, you know, you'll lose some viewers because you're talking about thoughts. So those thoughts come in. There's a sampling of some of mine. And then you ask yourself the same thing. Who's watching these thoughts, or who's hearing these thoughts? Anyway, we can extrapolate on that. So that's the you, I think, the watcher is watching the thoughts. So it just separates you. It gives you an idea that, you know, you're not your thoughts. So every thought that comes into your head isn't necessarily you, right? Okay. All right. So there's a little aggressive thought combating. I don't know. Let's move on to the next one. Don't be attached to outcome. This is a tough one for me. Really tough one for me. So, you know, you have these expectations in life and you say, I want to get that great job, or I want to drive a Maserati, or I want to star in a popular television show. What are television shows? I want to star in a popular online streaming show of my own called Lunch Therapy. So you get ideas like that, and you're like, I don't know how I could aspire to such a thing like that, but you get kind of stuck in it. And so you're like, someday I'll be happy when I have an online streaming video show. But until I have one, not happy. You can't be like that. You have to be like, happy now. You know, happy now, not waiting to be happy. And you know what? One more thing, you don't have to be happy all the time. Sometimes you're not, and that's okay. Next tenet, now this is kind of a difficult one. This is one that Jared Leto told me, because he and I are text partners. He doesn't really text me, I just text him. And he says, well, the only time he texted me, he said, message and data rates may apply. So that got kind of stuck as one of our cult tenets, the tenets of the cult. Tenets of the cult. I'm not my mind, I'm not my body. There's a great Indian mantra song that says, I am not my mind, I am not my body, I believe, right? Jaya Mata Kali, Jaya Mata Durga. That's something that I learned when I was in India. It's great because the song, a lot of times these songs, these mantra songs, they help clear your mind and help put some good thoughts in there. Sometimes when you really clear your mind and you see clearly, you can reprogram your thoughts even. You can say, hey, I don't like that thought that says, I'm not popular or whatever. I think I'll put a different thought in there saying, I'm a cool guy, like Joe Fury or something. Cult of the Hummingbird has come in and said, the hummingbird who searches for happiness will not find happiness. The hummingbird who looks inside to see that happiness is already there. Oh, I screwed that up. I'm going to read it again. The hummingbird who searches for happiness will not find happiness. The hummingbird who looks inside will see that happiness is already there. Be the hummingbird. Wisdom from the hummingbird. Okay, one more. Get yourself a modem. That's right. Years ago, John Gould in my computer class in 1983 stood up and proudly said, I'm going to get myself a modem. And we thought, this guy's nuts. So much so that we repeated it all the time like it was our mantra. I'm going to get myself a modem. And now we all have modems. A lot of us don't know what they are. I think that Mary knows. Modulator, demodulator, I think it stands for, which is basically the way we communicate on the internet, right? Lots of gold nuggets today, right? We're taking our time today on a Wednesday to really experience some lunch therapy, even though there is a lot to see. There's a heck of a lot to see. But we're here now in the moment, right? All right, let's move on. A couple of things. Now I have just totally changed the vibe here, which is the kaleidoscope vibe, because I want to talk to you about yesterday. I was telling you that the power lines behind my house exploded. Well, it was probably the transformer just blew up, bang. And Kamala, who was about to go swimming in our pool, that's the dramatic way we're phrasing that, but she was about to go swimming in our pool, escaped electrocution because she wasn't in the pool. Bang, transformer blows. This is like at night, like 8:30 at night. And there was a big green flash. So she went, it's a good background. So she comes running up to me and I'm like working away. And she says, and then the power goes out. Okay, maybe I wasn't working. Yeah, I was still working away because I was on like battery power. And I'm like, she's like, oh my God, you got to come back here. And I came back to the back of the house, and we're looking out, and all of a sudden, bang, another explosion of the transformer, and a wire goes springing off, lands in the pool. I just spit when I said that. It's a good test if you're projecting. A lot of times you see actors on stage just spitting. Good thing I wasn't spitting that day, though, because the electricity just was wow and went right into the pool. Thank God I wasn't in the pool. I've been going to the pool every day since I told you guys I was going to get in the pool every day. And Kamala has been doing similarly. Thank God she wasn't in the pool. So this is the result. So the guys come and they fix the thing, right? But when they lifted up the wire, we were videoing them, and when they lifted up the wire, it stuck to our artificial turf. You could see that it's stuck. So we're like, whoa, wow. It melted it. So went out there, Kamala went out there, took some pictures. You can see that is not the wire. That's actually some kind of burned in, well, maybe it's the exterior of the wire, burned into the artificial turf. There it is again. We've got a little path. A little burn path. Frightening, huh? What if you were standing in there? It'd be like getting struck by lightning, though. The chances of us standing in our backyard at that exact moment, pretty minuscule, but dramatic nonetheless. Whoa. Yeah, that's some serious burn. Okay. I want to get on because my my tree cam seems to have fallen over. That's really, really disappointing. It fell over. So now it's a worm dirt cam. I'm going to have to get my technical department on that. Boney! I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was taking a nap. So, yeah, it's so scary. Just to put some weed and feed on that, and it'll grow right back. Yeah. That's good advice. So scary. It's scary. But you know what's scarier, Sue? Are these are these fighting rabbits? What is this? These are rabbits. They're fighting like kangaroos. You know those boxing kangaroos? I think this is in Australia or something. Only in Australia would jackrabbits just start punching each other. We usually don't have violence on this show, but we like the animals and we like weird animal behavior. But I'm not sure what happened here. I think looks like a bar fight. I think there's a bar nearby. These guys got a little too drunk. One of them told him how they slept with his sister, and then whack. He's like, "You stay away from my sister. Get away from me. Hey, you don't own your sister. She has her own life." "Oh yeah? Well, come here." "Oh, I tripped over the curb." Anyway, there's that. And then, a lot of times on the show, we talk about trash pandas and whether that's a derogatory term for raccoons. And I think it is. But apparently there is a minor league baseball team called the Trash Pandas. I think they're going to have to change their name. Yep. There's a lot of that going on, and I think it's time for them to change their names. Here's a man with a pet raccoon. So you can have pet raccoons. It looks a little dangerous. Sue wants to chime in and say, it doesn't appear that the rabbits were hurting each other. That's right. No rabbits were harmed in the making of that video. I hope not. But certainly this is not a trash panda. It's a loving creature. And on the same note, here's a man with a pet fox.
To be friendly. It also told him that I was trusting him, because Doing that gave him three options. He could either reject my caress by turning
So
away, accept it,
men
or object
have
to it by biting my hand.
loving
And
relationships
that
with
last option
raccoons and
told him
foxes.
that I wanted trust, because if you want
And
trust, you've
yesterday
got-
we were talking about that. We were talking about the what did the fox say, because we, you know, that internet sensation from years back, because I had the shirt that said what did the fox say, and we talked to, I'm not going to say it, the name of the iPhone person, but anyway, it said a weird response when we said what does the fox say. And so I went back to that video to kind of clear this up. Yeah, it is amazing. It's amazing, the pets. So I went back to clear it up after watching a video about a man with a fox. I watched What Does the Fox Say? And weirdly enough, What Does the Fox Say has almost 1 billion hits. It's heading towards 1 billion. But I cut out this little part just so you could see that part that my phone was talking about. It said, or whatever it said, because that's apparently what they say. I don't know. You know, there's one other thing that I just wanted to talk about. And when we were in India, a lot of us were there. A lot of people in the chat room were with us. There was this guy, Agyat, who was this guru. And he was, he did a lot of meditation exercises, really interesting guy. And he has a lot of wise things to say. So he sent me this video. And, I thought, well, he's going to give me some guidance, on what to do during these times. And here it is. I'm going to share it with you guys. So, yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's about sharing. Maybe it's about serving your fellow people. I mean, look how generous this young lady is. But it turns out she's getting the water from the toilet. What does this have to do with the ocean? It's such a good point. Let's move on. Obviously I'm afraid of the ocean. I'm afraid too. And I spoke about this yesterday. I've been exploring the ocean on my own quite a bit, but not on the show, because I'm somehow intimidated by it. Like I say, it's way bigger than I thought, the ocean. It's way bigger. It's most of the earth. It kind of blew my mind to see how insignificant we are. We think that we're in the world, but we're kind of missing it, right? We're kind of missing most of the world because it's, it looks like that. And we don't go under the ocean very often. There's a lot of people that want to go to the beach lately, but I don't think they really have a connection with it. I know, I'm afraid to even talk about the ocean. It scares me. It's so vast. Once again, Lake, can you get the clip? Yada, yada, yada. Men living with animals. What does the fox say? Tenets of the cult. You guys can fill them in. It's okay. You are not alone. I'm not the only one that's afraid of oceans, right? I think my whole generation I bet you there are many, many, many less oceanographers in my generation, because we got scared off immediately by Jaws. And just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, they came out with Jaws 2 and then Jaws 3D. It just kept going. They kept inundating us with fear of the ocean. And maybe that's why we're not protecting our oceans, because we have so much fear around it. I think sometimes, when you're a kid, the stories that you hear are very, very important. Maybe this is why we have movies that have different ratings and things, because it's very, very important. Because when you're a kid, you kind of, you're soaking up everything. A lot of you have kids out there. You know what I'm talking about. You're just soaking in information, kind of unfiltered, kind of like you're like trusting. And, your parents know this. And so they tell you stories, little parables, kind of like Jesus did. I tell you stories to kind of teach you a lesson. And I look back on those stories, I'm like, at the time my mom was reading the book to me, The Boy Who Sailed Around the World Alone. And his cat got eaten by a shark. No, we have not discussed the Meg yet. And we will not, Jay Gaffney. So she's reading me this book about the boy who sailed around the world alone. And I think the message was, you can do anything. You don't need anybody. Don't need anybody. You can just sail around the world. You don't need a crew. You don't even need the cats. They're superfluous. But when I look back on it, I think that sometimes my parents made up stories. I don't know if you guys in the chat room make up stories to tell your kids just to teach them a lesson. Because the stories sometimes coincided with things that I was doing. I don't know what the boy who sailed around, that was just pure terror. My dad told me a story about a gun, and he was in the army, and somebody, thought the gun was empty and was kidding around and shot somebody else, killed him. I don't know if that's true, but it sure made me wary of guns. I don't have any guns. Nope. That worked for me. Another time, my friend and I found a jar of gasoline, as you do when you're a kid. You're in the garage. And I find that the worst things, the most dangerous things I ever did when I was a kid, I did without any discussion. There was no talking. It's like a silent movie. So my friend and I are over at his house, and he looks at me, and we go into the garage, and he looks at this jar with gasoline in it. And then he takes out a lighter, and he lights the gasoline. No one said anything. Lights the gasoline. It didn't have the effect that we wanted it to, which was to explode, because kids like to explode things. No, it just lit the gas on the top of it. And, I don't recommend this to anybody, by the way. This is a bad idea. So luckily we didn't die from that. But then the next thing that we decided to do was just pour the gasoline all over the lawn and light that. And that lit quite a bit. The entire lawn was on fire. And it wasn't necessarily the lawn, it was the gas on the lawn. And then at that moment, his mom pulled into the driveway. And this was a heavily wooded area, so she couldn't see that the place was on fire. And we started stomping it out. And, the gas got on our feet. And luckily, we survived. We survived to live another day. I don't even know. We might have even put it out before she saw us. Several days later, my mother just offhandedly tells me a story about a kid who was playing with matches in the woods and lit the entire woods on fire, and all the houses in the neighborhood burned. Yeah, I would be freaked out. I don't know, Sue, do you have stories like that when you were a kid? You were a pretty good kid. Do you have stories of things that you did where you're like, wow, if my kids did that, I would be so terrified. Certainly have those. Jose says, fire. Yeah. Once again, nothing to do with the ocean. It's incredible. There's an ocean behind me. No, I do. I had a whole thing about the ocean today. I had a whole presentation about the ocean, and it's really good. And it's just totally cute up here, but the show's over. I can't believe the show is over. It's been fun though, right? I mean, this show is just about fun. And the tenets of the cult are we don't overthink things, and we take our time, and we're in the moment, and we commune. That's the show. That's what this show is. We're coming up on our 100th episode. This is episode 92. And Jared still hasn't shown up. Shia LaBeouf is still not here. We've got a lot of work to do. There is no limit, Mary. There is no limit. But I figure at 100, we're going to have some kind of celebration, right? Oh, why is there a limit to the show in the day? Well, because I can't overtax us all with all this information. We need to process. Definitely fun. My happy place. It's my happy place too. I love lunch therapy. I never did anything wrong. Ha ha ha. I know. We need to have 100th celebration. I think we do too. It's coming up. Okay, today is Wednesday, 92. We do 5 shows a week. It's coming up, not next week, I don't think, but the following week. I cannot do math on air. Somebody figure it out. But I've talked to a few people about being on the show, the 100th episode. So far, no takers, but I have faith. I'm not attached to outcome because you all are here. And the only reason we would bring somebody on that we don't know is just because the more the merrier, right? The more the merrier. All right. I was going to show you this cool stuff, but instead I'm going to show you this really great performer who's my new friend. I think he's a CalArts guy as well. He contacted me and, with a new album that he has coming out. Is it really next Friday? It's not going to be on a Friday? Wow. Mom stories. Like if you cross your eyes, will they stay like that? That is a good mom story. Or like if you push your stomach out, it's going to stay that way. A lot of the stories are, it's going to stay that way. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's Monday. Yeah, I think it's probably, because it'd be nice if it was on a Friday. We could just, but Monday, heck, Monday is a great day because usually Mondays are not celebrated. In fact, there are more heart attacks that happen on Mondays. That's what I've heard. And another interesting fact is that space is safer than Disneyland. I came up with that one because no one has died in space. No humans have died in space as of yet. Going to space, coming back. But people have had heart attacks at Disneyland. Not many. Happiest place on Earth. On Earth. That's not including the International Space Station. All right, kids and adults and people. We're going to move to our dance break. I don't want to go today. I'm having a good time. But this guy, Nick Brown, he's a performer. He's up and coming. He is doing a cover because we like a lot of times to have covers of songs on the show, covered by Stevie Wonder. Someday I'll tell you about when I ran into Stevie Wonder and I'll show you the video. That's for another day. Today is Wednesday. It's a good place to come to find out what day it is. So without further ado, Nick Brown, who probably tuned into this show for the first time today, is like, what the hell is going on here? Rob, great show. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. It's a casual show. It's casual Wednesday. All right, here's Nick. Coming at you. Yeah, see, this is a good song for today, especially if I don't talk over it. I'm just going to dance. Jay, I'm not posting that. Maybe at the very end. This guy, I'm going to play him for a little while because he gave me permission here. Happy Friday. Not Friday. Happy Wednesday. Doesn't matter what day it is. See you tomorrow. This guy's talented. See you tomorrow. Lunch therapy.